It's 6:01 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Lane, can you do roll call?
Trustee Barheit.
Here.
Trustee Bug.
Here.
Trustee Hopkins.
Here.
Trustee Gant.
Here.
Trustee Sweeting.
Here.
Trustee Faber.
Here.
And President Bucher.
Here. Did we meet open meeting compliance?
We have.
Great. Do I have approval of the agenda sequence? Anyone have any changes? No? Okay. With that, we will move into public comments. I'd like to call Mr. Grumbeck. Please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Stormy Grumbeck. I live at 28002 Silver Lake Road, Salem, Wisconsin. Okay, I've lived on a lake for 46 years for what it's worth, so I've seen a lot of things come and go. So the village of Silver Lake, I guess what this is about is the buoys. I've heard conversation, different ideas of the buoys on Silver Lake. As far as I remember, the village of Silver Lake started that program at least 25 years ago and has administered it and maintained it over all the years. And I think they've done a pretty good job with it, frankly. I've also been involved with the Lake Preservation District for probably at least 25 years. And to my knowledge, we've never been involved at all with, with the buoys at all. It's always been the Silver Lake, now Salem Lakes. Like I say, I think they've done a good job with the buoys, and I would just like to see Salem Lakes continue to manage the buoys as they have in the past. Another issue that I've heard was geolocating the buoys, which I think is probably a pretty good idea as a point of reference. But I also heard something about penalties if the buoys were moved. And I don't think that's a good idea because the lake conditions change. The depth of the water changes, the weed lines sometimes change areas, the boat traffic's change. So I think sometimes, some adjustment just based on the conditions, the buoys do need to be adjusted from time to time. So having them set in a certain spot under penalty, I think is a bad idea. But the geolocating as a reference, I think probably is a good idea. The other thing that came up was, let's see, the geolocating. There's been mention about, moving the buoys to take care of some of the danger areas in the lake. There are some rocky shoals, especially now the water's down about 8 inches. So there's some shallow areas that has a potential to cause, boating problems. And it was suggested that maybe placing some, danger buoys in those areas to alert people, especially the people that aren't that familiar with the lake, about those areas. I think probably is also a good idea, versus moving the other buoys around and try to account for that. I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Trey Robinson, please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Trey Robinson. I live at 27724 Silver Lake Road in Salem. This is my second time being here at the board and first time speaking. So thank you, all of you, for the opportunity to share some thoughts this evening. First and foremost, I'm a husband to my wife, Kate Robinson. I'm a father to 2 children, Liam and Nora Robinson. Many of you probably have seen my daughter Nora. She was with me last week. They're twins. I haven't been on the lake as long as Stormy Grumbeck at 46 years, but I really enjoyed and appreciated hearing the stories last week at the board meeting from many of you, from many of the folks that joined, around how everyone enjoys using Silver Lake. Whether it's swimming, fishing, boating, water skiing, anything is fantastic. Just this weekend, I saw somebody pull out one of the biggest fish ever off of my dock. I saw people paddleboarding even before the sun was up. And the fact that so many people have enjoyed the lake through a variety of uses, I think is fantastic. And I would love to see that the Village of Salem Lakes continues to work in a way that allows everyone to enjoy the lake as they deem appropriate. That said, I've personally been coming to Salem and Silver Lake for about 10 years. And as of 3 years ago, I'm now a homeowner on the lake. In fact, one of the reasons we chose to buy property on the lake was because of all of the enjoyment that my family, my children have enjoyed over that time period. While it was great to hear the multitude of uses of the lake, there were a couple of things that were brought up last week that concerned me greatly. And I just thought it would be worthwhile to kind of share some of those with you today. Like I said at the beginning, I'm a father to 2 children, Liam and Nora, and I view my role as a father very simply. My number one job as a father is to keep those children safe and healthy. As a show of hands, who here is a parent? Yeah, or a grandparent? And I take the health and the safety of my children with the utmost of concern. And last week I heard that there were individuals who are moving buoys, unauthorized individuals that are moving buoys to areas of the lake or in a manner that is creating a less safe environment on the lake. We heard from the Department of Natural Resources warden that if those buoys are moved into the interior of the lake, that reduces the amount of boating area for boaters on the lake, and thereby increasing the likelihood of a catastrophic event or a safety event occurring. And that's a concern of mine. Steps that are being taken to reduce the usable area of the lake, thereby creating a less safe environment for anyone who's using the lake, whether it's swimming or boating or fishing or skiing, I have issue with. I am very happy to be standing here as a father of 2 children and as a husband. I do not want to be standing here talking about a fatality or somebody being hurt because of the actions or the inaction of our community. So all I'm asking is that through any discussion or any decision that's made by the town or by the Village of Salem Lakes, that we put the safety of our community, of our parents and our children at the top of that priority list, so that everyone, including my family and yours, can continue to use the lake in the ways that we all use the lake. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on into our agenda items. Number 1, Michelle Goody, 961 South Cogswell Drive, request use of public boat launch or near the beach at DeWitt Park for a dredging project for a client located at 27576 Silver Lake Road. This was tabled on May 8th. Do I have a motion to untable that?
Motion to untable it. I'll second it.
Great.
What is the new date that she wants to perform this activity?
Brad, do you have an update? I heard it was November now, I think she said in her email. So last week we talked about her insurance and having her reach out to the county. Did she follow back up with you on that yet?
She did not follow back up with the county. She did ask a couple questions about the insurance. I don't think that will be an issue. But I have not yet. If she was waiting on more information, we got probably require
Okay,
for the insurance,
okay,
but nothing back from the county.
okay.
Commissioner said that they didn't expect to do anything until this fall.
Yeah, she says it's been pushed back until November.
Do you know if we heard from the parks whether or not that's gonna disrupt anything there, or are
Yeah, they did
agree-
not want to use the park.
They did not want to use the park.
We talked about this once before, and I thought we talked about over by the fire lane or the boat launch over by the BP station.
He did.
After the boating season and everything, you
Correct.
know, and it wouldn't really interfere with anybody, but let's see where she comes up with
The county.
yeah.
Brad, if that's the case, is the public boat launch in November an option, or is there a concern there with anything?
I don't. Besides it being,
There's nothing sewer wise.
Would it be removed prior to the lake freezing over at some point? I mean, how long is this gonna take? Because that is an
Didn't
access
she
for all
say
the ice
before it was
fishing.
like a week, right?
Again, wasn't it?
I thought it was like
Move in,
5
week,
days or
move out the
something.
next. She'll have to give us the details exactly and the dates. So that we can look at that.
I still like to see her trying to.
Sure, absolutely.
Because
It
that-
makes more sense logistically.
As I understand it is sand. Imagine like the county could use that at their beach over there possibly.
I had a great length conversation with Doug at Parks, and I also attended their last Parks meeting. Before it got brought up to this board, it got missed being brought up at the Parks Commission. So that's why they had it on their last meeting, after this meeting tabled it. And speaking with Doug, they flat out rejected the idea of using our public beaches and launch areas for this dredging project. Number one, because of the silt and whatnot is at the depths of the lake and contains a lot of E. coli or whatever. And there are other manners of being able to dredge. And he discussed the suction method, which basically it would take place at the homeowner's residence. They have a vacuum truck at the top of the hill, and basically they can just suck it from their own property. So with that option available, other than maybe it being slightly more expensive, why would we not follow the Parks Commission recommendation and not allow this to be done, thereby setting precedent for other waterfront homeowners to use public property? If there is other means to be able to be utilized, it only makes sense that the homeowner utilize those means.
I think with the sludge, when you suck with a pump, you get a whole bunch of water, a whole bunch of mud and everything, and it's got to set in an area. I think you guys use that. It sets in the area till all the water drains away. It takes a pretty big size area to store all this till the water goes away so they can manually go in there and scoop it up again. Whereas with, I think this dredging, they put it up in a container and they take it up there and they put it right into a truck.
Well, what I understood Doug to say that it would be put on the barge, therefore the water would all be draining and then it would be sucked from the barge. I think it needs to be explored a little more, given the fact that Doug says there are other options. And again, we'd be setting precedents.
I agree. I agree with that.
You know, we have high E. coli numbers that we're shutting down beaches. I want to know why. There is something going on in the water. Is there a leak somewhere? Is the septic system leaking? Why do we have?
Geese,
Excuse me for interrupting.
Oh, geese? Okay.
lots of them.
But
We'll get the parks, we'll get Doug from Parks involved, and I think we can
Probably the way they're gonna do it is the most economical way to do it. I mean, anybody would want to do that, so.
Correct.
Well,
But at whose
it
expense?
is tightly regulated by the DNR, and they've got the permit, so the DNR has looked at it. They know what the sediment is, they know, they gave them the permit.
So it sounds like we need to table this again, and then Brad, can you work with Ms. Goodeve on some of these concerns and see if they've explored all those options? So I suppose that we will put it back on the agenda for,
After Brad moves.
Doug.
maybe September.
Doug.
We'll try September, but if you need to move it, then let us know. Okay. Tabled, got it. Okay. Number 2, authorize road closure in front of Schmalfeld Park for August 26th street dance event sponsored by the Silver Lake Happenings. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Who had the second? Bill? So both bills, Bill Hopkins first, Barheit second.
No, you.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 3, authorize road closure of Railroad Street between Depot and East Park, August 26th from 10:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. for charity motorcycle run. Do I have
Second.
Faber and Ant? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 4, Silver Lake boating regulations. Do I have a motion?
Can we elaborate on that?
Well, it's a motion to discuss, right? Don't I need a motion to discuss it?
No.
It's a motion, I believe, referring to the buoys. The control or management of the
I
buoys.
think it's the responsibility.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to continue maintaining the buoys by the village of Salem Lakes.
I second that motion.
Now, can we have some discussions on it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'd first like to read something that was sent to the board president regarding my membership or appointment to the Salem Lakes Management District. And it came from another board member by the name of Harry Laws. And it is potential conflict of interest. Village board member, Mr. Hopkins, was appointed by the village to sit on the Silver Lake Management District Board as the village appointee. His comments at the COW last week appeared to be contrary to the Salem or Silver Lake Management Board decision and direction. I submit this places him in a conflict of interest if there are any differing actions to be evaluated by the village board. If the board wishes to move in a manner not acceptable to the Salem or Silver Lake Management Board, I respectfully request he not vote on that measure, as it would appear to be a conflict of interest. In the future, such conflicts could be avoided if the village appoints someone other than a board member to the Salem or Silver Lake Management District. In other words, they want a puppet. And because I don't agree with who controls the buoy, they would like to silence my vote. So, that being said.
Dave, I know that you had a meeting with some of the members.
So I included a memo in the portal, and I think the motion would be more along the lines of number 2. In that memo, which would be the village in control of the buoys. I think the preference for the district was to reach out to their members with potential buoy locations and try to get some type of consensus on that and then bring it to the village, which would ultimately have the final say on it and then include it in the ordinance, in our ordinance. When we were looking for, I guess, just to take a step back as related, that we know the ordinance is firm, and so it's possibly has to be changed and in discussion with Brad and council here, some broad direction in terms of how that is to be drafted. Appreciated. So, it's just delegate to the Lake District the big responsibility. I think that is not referred by the district, certainly not on the motion. I guess to the extent you want to, public meeting, if you choose to maintain the status quo, that I think we've got direction on how to fix the ordinance. It's public meeting, so folks can give their input and whereas I think we should leave it ultimately. If that helps clarify. The next step is for us to draft an ordinance to bring it back.
When we go to draft that ordinance, though, Mr. Brattle, wouldn't it be true that we GPS locate those buoys in accordance with state statute 30.66, which we heard last week from the district warden, Jason Roberts, that would establish a 200-foot off a shoreline, 100 feet off a pier, as the boaters can judge distance, they cannot judge depth, was his quote unquote words.
We do have to GPS the buoys as part of the ordinance and application process of the DNR, and I guess I the council on the next step of the state laws, 200 people. So
With the exception of the areas where the shoals are to put the danger buoys. Okay. It is unfortunate, as Stormy mentioned, 40-some years ago when they put those buoys in. I don't believe the regulations what they are with the DNR today. I know the Sportsman's Club used to put them in as well. They had as many as 60 buoys out there at one time, I heard. But today they have to be, you have to identify where the buoy is through a GPS and even a map indicating where they are and get approval from the DNR. Technically, I believe the buoys are not legal. Well, we know they're not legally in the lake right now. And it does present
What I would also encourage the Silver Lake Management District to do is, instead of thinking about allocating $5,000 for legal fees for whatever, as you heard at our meeting 3 weeks ago, some of the residents would rather see that $5,000 spent on law enforcement on the lake, which I am not sure you've even done that piece yet. So.
When I respond. Just a couple of thoughts. It's, as you heard from other residents, it's okay with the Lake District. It's a village keeps going on the buoys. That's fine. Happy to look. The next thing on the agenda is probably public safety, as you point out. We ask that you keep the 30 buoys in their historic locations. Had a good meeting last week with Paul Snellen. Now we know where the historic locations are. Once you're 100 feet off the county swim area and the docks of the two marinas, as well as the two major shoals, about half the buoys are more than 200 feet away. And the DNR gives you great latitude in putting the buoys in, which is why I did spend a little money on illegal, because it's not 200 feet is a requirement. Mr. DNR sat right there. I talked with him afterwards, and it's not 200 feet. When he asked, he said, it's in the public interest when the local municipality decides the public interest. So you have a wide latitude. The current buoy locations, the historic buoy locations can be continued, and they should be continued. But all their mission was this year was to modify them, deal with low water, because people were outside the buoys running around, safety issue, Mr. Robinson. And there were other issues where The buoys are too close to shore, it's in low water again, because people are scraping the bottom of the shoal areas and also taking off from marinas. That's not good for the lake, not good for the ecology of the lake. A couple of adjustments we were talking about, our mission was simply to make a few adjustments to zip to go low water. And then I got this crazy idea that I read in the DNR sensitive areas report, that there are 2 areas of the lake that they suggest be in the no lake zone. Why? Because these are ecologically important to the lake, the fisheries. One's on the northwest side, it's 400 feet offshore. One's on the southwest South Bay, it's goes a little farther out. Those were the minor changes we were looking to do this year. That was it. Going to make some comments, but the historic locations are great. 30 buoys in a ring, put hazards in some of them, who cares? People follow moving around, and it's generally been safe because of that. The locations that are in the lake today are not historic locations. They probably can be by moving them around. So technology is amazing. I've got GPS for some of those locations, if anybody's interested. But
Okay,
it's not our intent to take over. We were told we had to take over. Yes, it's wrong.
Okay.
Please have that.
Jim, can you
Thank you.
state your address for the record?
402 South Cogswell, Silver Lake.
Is that your primary address?
We've been there 34 years.
thank you.
Done a lot of research on this issue, and we have the perfect opportunity with the merge of all 5 hamlets into one to lay a firm foundation when it comes to our lakes. Likened to a topography on land, you can have that done over your lakes. And with the Biden-Harris infrastructure bill that came out, they have allocated money that the Army Corps of Engineers has a part of. And they are currently have programs in which they work with municipalities to safeguard our waterways, including our lakes. But we have 5. And like Trustee Young had mentioned, what we do for one lake, we should do for all. I suggest, and I talked to Mr. Bruno about contacting the Army Corps of Engineers as to this program, but I think we need to, as the previous Silver Lake owners mentioned, I lived on the water for 60 years. Your water changes continuously. Hazards are revealed continuously. What I would like to see us do as a body is get that reading of all 5 lakes, discern with the Army Corps of Engineers where our hazards are, discern where the erosion potentials are, and let's have a good foundation with accurate data, not based on what voter usage, but in hardcore readings. And it wouldn't hurt with the change in the environment and whatnot to have that updated every 5 years to safeguard our lakes, reveal any hazards, and have an accurate picture of how many buoys, what the name on the buoy should be, no wake for water erosion potential, or no boating in, wetland area or ecological areas, and let's lay and be the body that does a decent foundation.
All right. So what I'm hearing is that we want to keep control over it. Am I
Correct.
correct? All right.
Yes,
Anybody want to make a motion?
Yeah, but
we did already.
Yeah, the
A motion to continue village maintaining buoys, and Young seconded it. So I guess we'll go to a vote. Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Mr. Faber?
Yes.
Yes. Kelly?
to table it,
No, for
Motion.
the motion for the village to maintain responsibility over the buoys, and then we can talk as a village on what we do with that. Am I correct? Yes. So maintaining responsibility would be the village instead of the Lake District.
I'll say yes to doing the initial stuff I discussed, but if anybody wants to bring it to,
I just need a yes or a no on
Yes.
if you want to vote to maintain responsibility for the village to
Yes.
maintain. Thank you.
that would allow us to do that.
Mr. Gant,
Yes.
Bill Hawkins,
Yes.
Jared,
Absolutely, yes.
Billy,
Yes.
I'm a yes. Motion carries for the village to maintain responsibility.
I like what Kelly had to say. However, I think Mr. Schultz backed me up. We had a number of years ago, there are a few lakes where they don't want buoys.
Mhm.
Hooker Lake, for example. We don't ever share in here. We said we're going to put buoys on Hooker Lake.
It looks like we have a little work to do.
I mean, I almost certainly was in favor of it. We have a 200-foot no lake.
Mhm.
And so they claim they don't go within 200 feet, so I don't know why they didn't want the buoys, but they don't. It's 187 they come in.
Well, we can, Mr. Brattle, can you help do a little bit of research on that so we can put it on a future agenda?
So.
Thank you.
Ordinance, but also
Yes, good.
just work on that.
Sounds good. Thank you. Okay, number 5, request for reimbursement for the purchase of 13 buoys by Jim Purinton, Chairman of the Silver Lake Management District. The amount is not on here. That is $2,905.
I make a motion to approve.
I second that motion, Mr. Young.
Young and Sweeting, any discussion?
So with us paying Mr. Purrington for those buoys then become the property of the Silver Lake, or Salem Lakes.
Correct. Mhm.
Now, what are we gonna do about the other lakes? Are we gonna be buying those too?
That's not on the top
It's
right
not
now.
on the discussion right now.
We just gotta get them all together doing the same thing.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to reimburse for $2,905.
I
Go ahead.
Because I'm not going to-
I have difficulty with this.
Okay,
I have not heard where the village had asked anyone to buy these buoys. And I know of sources you can get them for $159. These are 200 and some dollars. And if the village was looking for buoys, it should have come to the board to buy buoys. That's not the case here.
Nope.
It was brought
And there
up,
were buoys in the lake. Not as many as there have been in the past,
mhm.
but
In your experience as dealing with all these lakes, trustee Faber, do you feel that there were sufficient buoys in the lake at the time that these buoys were purchased? In other words, 17 buoys in the lake.
if I personally feel there were or there wasn't, the answer is they were in the lake. They're really not even supposed to be in the lake because they're not GPS located. I like the idea. I mean, there's many good things that have took place on Silver Lake over the years. I liked going out to 5 foot. I wish we could have done that on Camp and Center Lake. There are areas where you shouldn't be boating at high-speed recreation. However, it's the board's decision. And that's what troubles me, that if we would have wanted to buy more buoys, in fact, the Camp Center Lake Rehabilitation District a year ago bought 10 buoys and was reimbursed by the village for those buoys. With our order for buoys for the Camp Center Lake Rehabilitation District. We also bought 5 for homeowner association, which they reimbursed us at $130 each is what they were then.
I'd like to review and remind the board the genesis of how this transaction took place. Last fall, 32 buoys were removed from Silver Lake.
32.
30 buoys? 30 buoys, sir? Yes, 30 buoys were removed from the lake in the fall. However, in preparation for the spring holiday, when asked to retrieve those buoys, somehow those buoys went down to only 17. So we have a very busy holiday weekend, the opening of this season, and we as a village have to take responsibility for the fact that those buoys were picked up from Silver Lake. They were put in a vehicle, brought to one of our village properties, taken out and put into storage. And at that time, it should have been discerned the buoys that were damaged.
By our village employee.
Right, but it wasn't.
Correct.
So now here, Silver Lake and a busy holiday weekend is stuck with now only 17 buoys, sir. And so we have to accept responsibility and perhaps put into place a policy that the buoys get reviewed when they are removed from the lake in the fall and discern if any of them need to be replaced.
There you go.
Why we should have done that? We didn't do that.
The Public Works.
Really didn't do it.
So
So the man should be reimbursed.
So you're opening up the general public to go out and buy whatever they so choose because they feel there's a threat to safety anywhere, any lake. So they go out and buy something and now you expect the village board to reimburse them for it.
Bill, it was our
I'm-
employee
I'm asking a question.
buoys out.
I'm asking a question.
They certainly can bring it before the board, but I hope we have enough scruples that we can lay a kind of foundation as we're looking into this whole lakes issue
we heard,
and have some policy in place.
we
But
heard-
those buoys should have been brought to the board's attention last fall when they were either discarded or put into
So
storage.
don't you think then it should have been brought to the board's attention prior to the purchase of those same buoys?
There was no time.
Oh.
Time was of the essence. It was a holiday weekend. They made a call
So
to get
the
buoys.
weekend before a holiday, they make the decision to go out and buy 17 buoys. That's what you're telling me.
That's right. I would have done the same thing, Mr. Hopkins, if I had children and boaters on a holiday weekend. And the fact that
Weekend
those
before.
buoys weren't ordered in the fall is our village
I'm not-
responsibility.
I'm not debating that piece.
So there was no time for 60 days to run it through the board for approval.
You think it takes that long for something on an
I
emergency?
have an email from the
think it takes
administrator
that long?
saying that what the administrator wrote me.
What administrator wrote you?
I have emails from our administrator
Which,
Which
discussing
administrator?
Mr. Murdoch?
Mr. Murdoch.
Do you want to share
How
those with the
long-
rest of the board?
I'd be happy to forward
Go
it
ahead.
to you tomorrow.
Agenda, let's focus on the agenda.
Well, it
I
depends on
approve.
the whole buoy thing. That's the point.
Can I have just one question? Dennis, you said that the town reimbursed the Lakes Association for the buoys?
well, they did, yeah, we bought them, paid for them, and they bought them from us.
So we actually paid for that.
Yeah, you actually paid for them, that is correct. And we heard from Paul at our cow meeting, his intentions were to buy 10 at least per year to go with the stock to get on the buoys.
Okay, so we reimbursed you guys, so the town actually paid for them.
The town paid for them. Those,
Well, I'm going to say that somebody had to buy these buoys one way or the other. I'm just for the safety aspect of it all. I mean, the way the process was done, he just purchased them, it has to be reimbursed. I'm gonna say reimbursement.
Dennis, do you know what the going rate is for buoys right now? How much a buoy is?
right now, they're $159 from Royal, the company that's in, it's just west of Milwaukee.
Gentlemen would like to respond on the pricing he bought them, if they would hear them.
You can decide to reimburse me or not, but here's what happened. You had a lot of chaos in the village staff level. The day before Memorial Weekend, 17 buoys were put in. No one at the village took charge to get the missing 13 buoys in the lake prior to the peak boating of July 4th. One individual said on the Saturday before Memorial Day that he would look into it and get back. I'm still waiting on that report. You had avoid a lot of other issues to deal with at that point in time. So I did step up in the interest of voting safety. But no good deed goes unpunished. Second guessing, should have, could have, paid too much. Thank you, trustee Sweeting, for your kind words. There's one person in the village that owned up to the fact the village messed up twice. Not ordering the replacement buoys last fall, and then again, not figuring out how to get 13 missing buoys into the lake as soon as possible, once you discovered they were missing. That one person was Mr. Murdoch. Talked to him in the middle of the joke. He said, I'm sorry, I screwed up. We had other things going on. I said, obviously you have. So you can do whatever you wish with regard to the payment of buoys. I regret having purchased the buoys. It would have been much better. The 17 buoys were out there. The boaters and property owners went nuts. And you had to deal with complaints. I won't do it again.
So right now, the motion. Eileen, can you read it back to me?
The motion was made by trustee Young, seconded by trustee Sweeting, for the reimbursement of 13. And that's where we're at. And then you added the pricing of 2,000.
I did. You know, Dennis said $159. I think that would be fair. And that comes out to $2,067. You know, which
I think
is,
we should factor in our air.
but
Wait, come on a second. Where are those buoys? Can you, Mr. Faber, where do you find those buoys at? What's the website or what company sells those buoys for? Because I haven't found anything less than $200.
I got it right here. This is down to Royland buoys, and they're out of Cedarburg. They gave me a quote of $271. Wally out of Beaver Dam gave me a quote of $200.
I see some of the other
prices you have here is from like West Marine Products, they're a retailer. Overton's, they're a retailer. Nobody else is a manufacturer.
This invoice is dated for the year 2021.
I said, okay, this is the new price right here, $159 right there, 2023.
I did wrong track.
okay. So right now, the motion stands as to reimburse for the amount of $2,905.
I'll second.
You already did, Kelly.
I thought we were opening it to discuss.
We did, but now we're gonna take a vote. Unless anyone is withdrawing their motion. No? Okay. Okay. So, Mr. Faber?
No.
Kelly?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Mr. Hopkins?
No.
Jared?
Yes.
Billy?
Yes.
I'm a yes, so it passes 5-0. Number 6, use of Silver Lake Community Center for Riverview School as an emergency unification center. Do I have a motion?
Oh, motion.
Second.
Faber and Hopkins. Any discussion?
So this comes back to the administrator over at Riverview Grade School reached out to me. Currently, their unification center in the event of an emergency happens to be the Baptist Church in Silver Lake, which forces the kids then to cross the railroad tracks. And she's asking if we could use what is now the Silver Lake Community Center as that reunification center.
Okay, and we talked about getting them a key fob that they would hold there at the school,
The administrator would, yes.
right?
Can someone give me an example that this would come into play?
How about
active shooter situation.
Yep. Tornado.
Fire at the school, tornado, kids go everywhere. And this would be if all the kids know this is where you go. And that's where the parents go to pick them up if they get separated.
They don't have to cross the tracks.
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
It could even be like a burst water pipe where they have to clear the school out. They gotta put them somewhere. To parents that come get them.
Yeah.
Cold weather, heater goes out.
Any other discussion? Okay. We'll do a vote. Mr. Barheit,
Yes.
Jared,
Yes.
Mr. Hopkins.
Yes.
Ronnie.
Yeah.
Kelly,
Yes.
Dennis.
Yeah.
I'm a yes. Motion carries. Move on to Public Works. Number 1, discussion and possible action on payment request number 3 by Asphalt Contractors, Inc. In the amount of $164,089.89 for the 2023 Street and Utilities Improvement Program.
So moved.
Hopkins and Gant. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Kelly, you didn't answer.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Motion carries unanimous. Number 2, discussion and possible action on the installation of a streetlight at the intersection of 294th Avenue and AH.
Motion to approve.
To approve based on the R.A. Smith's recommendation to put a light there.
I'll second.
I think Brian could show you. There you go. Since you're with skid marks and what have you, at their recommendation.
Okay, so we have a motion by Dennis and a second by Hopkins. We'll do a roll call on this. And unless anyone else has anything else to say? No? Okay. Mr. Barheit,
Yes.
Jared,
Yes.
Mr. Hopkins.
Yes.
Mr. Gant,
Yes.
Ms. Sweeting,
Yes.
Mr. Faber.
Yes.
I'm going to abstain. So 6-0-1, motion carries. Number 3, discussion and possible action of the purchase of 6 Barnes grinder pumps from Energetics in the amount of $17,520.
Motion to approve. Second.
Gant and Hopkins. Any discussion?
I'll second.
I'd like to ask Brad, who did these bids go out to? And who do you contact for repairs or warranty work?
That would be Energetics. They are the legal rep. I did just check with other companies just to make sure they can't get it more or less. Repairs of the pumps. The average life of 16 years, and we're gonna spend grand repairing, get new windings. We just prefer to purchase new.
So it basically wasn't sent out for pricing. It was just sent to a rep from this particular company.
It was set on Energetics, LWL, and they're also.
Because you and I were talking about this over the past week, because when I went on trying to get the specs and the model number, there's a direct one that seems to come a little bit cheaper and they're more local, whereas this company, Energetics, if I'm not mistaken, based out of Ontario, Canada.
You have to take it all out of making shipping on it.
Right,
Just a little bit.
but I just wondered if we had, you know, fielded this out.
It has to be the exact same styles and discharge mitigation.
Right, and I was asking you on that.
Yeah, otherwise I'm modifying the pump and the discharge.
Right,
And
to make it better.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve in a second. I'm going to take a vote. Mr. Faber,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Jared,
Yes.
Billy.
Yes.
I'm a yes, motion carries. Move on to fire rescue. Number 1, approval of United Flooring Inc. invoice in the amount of $14,700. This was for carpet squares? Yes, okay. I have a motion,
Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Hopkins and Young. Any discussion?
So you had carpet before, right, chief? Are these gonna, is this carpet squares gonna be better for you?
Yep.
Did you get some extras so you can replace them when they, okay, good. All right. Take it to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Number two, approval of bound tree invoice in the amount of $7,236.72. And this was for medical supplies,
So move. Second.
Farheight and Gant. Any discussion?
They might not need it on me.
I'm s- Okay. Good. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Number three, approval of purchase for a Wacker-Newson tow behind light trail tower. This proposed asset has been budgeted in the 2023 list of capital projects.
I'll move to approve.
Second,
Faber and Young. Chief, how often would you use this?
It's gonna be split 3 days between the sewer department. Right now, the fire department, I sent out probably quarterly to assistant sheriff's department, we have to kind of fire truck. With 2 personnel minimum. Sit there and see the measurements, etc. This way we'll be able to grab the tower off and use it in diet calls.
Okay. And how often would Public Works use it, do you think, Brad?
Probably every couple of years.
Yeah, maybe.
It'd be nighttime, pre-work, or day breaks.
You would have used it on that main break on 83 a couple years ago. That took over, what, 36 hours to repair?
Yeah. Yeah, North Station 19.
Yeah.
And Chief, you said that the sheriff asked you to, they asked you to,
Frequently for waiting, we're just waiting on our seat.
Okay.
I see you have a name brand here. I don't see a price.
it's in the, here it is.
Do you know offhand, Chief, what the price of this product is? How much?
$13,000.
And is there a specific reason why it has to be a Wacker-Newson?
We sold like that, we both contractors to be used for. I think for now, it's people around Bristol Fire Department that actually. Maybe defer here and Wacker Newson products. We've been able to do in Wisconsin.
yeah, it's a more of a, yeah, we have several of them. It's a preferable light plant that you would use. It's a higher end light plant. The new ones are LED. They're not crank style. They're power up. You just, you hit a button and it automatically goes up. So, you know, if it's been budgeted in the capital projects and there's money in there for it. And if everybody's gonna get use out of it, I don't see why not. That's my thoughts.
The exact dollar amount is $13,518. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Move on to the administrator's office. Number one, resolution 2023.08-87, requesting Kenosha County to remove reversionary clause relative to parcel 74-120-164-0505. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Sorry, Hopkins. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Hopkins in favor. So this was for the property that Ms. Kruger wanted to purchase, but the county had
Deed restriction.
deed restrictions that we could not sell it because they gave it to us, I think, for $1.
So the one that's not gonna be built on, it's gonna have. the
Correct.
ordinance.
So we're doing, from what I understand,
Yes.
a resolution so that the county knows where we stand, the village, to let her do that. And she would still have the same restriction that she can't, right? Can't build. Yes.
I'm sorry, could someone refresh my memory? Is this a waterfront property?
No,
No,
this is one non-buildable.
a wetland.
Yeah, and it was for $3,500. But this would be, which we don't know if the county's gonna approve that yet, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not a buildable lot.
Right. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 2, request of Timothy St. Peter, 8427 273rd Avenue for the placement of a mooring buoy in Silver Lake. Do I have a motion?
And that's the tie a boat up to.
I need a motion to talk. Well, I guess not. I don't know what this is because I did not.
Yeah.
Dave's.
I want to table it just because I need more information.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of information. You have to get the riparian owner's approval.
Okay.
And the problem there is if the riparian owner sells, you've still got this heavy weight out there. It could set a precedent. Was initially designed for riparian owners to put boat out there. This is a condo for development, and he's not really on there, but the association could have, they have fears. It's on Highway F, where those condos are. And it has to be approved by the DNR. Anything you put in the lake has to be approved by the DNR. Again, it's something that's in our ordinance that I think was not in today's law by the DNR. It requires what we used to require. In all the time that I've been here, I only know of one mooring buoy that was approved, that was on Camp Lake in the 80s, actually.
Yeah, I would suggest that we not take any action on this until after we get the buoy situation, the ordinance put in there, and add any additional information that we need to, especially as it pertains to mooring buoys, before we take action.
I think it was Madam President, I had, so this was an area that I didn't know about, or we had made this through the right thing to do. I just wanted to add, I had reached out, and I'm not sure if it's here for the applicant, just to let them know it's on the agenda.
Okay,
Is he able to clarify his intent?
Yes, the Ed St. Peter and Tim St. Peter.
please state your name and address for the record.
8427 273rd Avenue. Ed and Timothy St. Peter. We own one of the homes in Rustic Shores. Our boat is, we have a split in Rustic Shores, but the boat is in the sand. Because of the shallow water. Although with this rain, maybe soon we're gonna have to build an ark, but. But so we can't hit the boat. The boat is stuck. You need to get it out. And there are at least 4 boats that are buoyed out there now, including some.
They're illegally parked there. We have not given permission for those to be moored out there. And they have not been approved by the DNR.
Well,
Not that I'm aware of.
I have one of my neighbors has one, and he said he did get it approved. In fact, that's where I got the form from, and he said it went to the village and he got approval from the DNR.
Nothing has ever come before the village board in the 7 years I've been here.
I don't know how long he's had it.
Hmm.
In the 20 years I've been there.
All right,
Now, this is not unusual with the drought we had this year. We have, had this, in the past, 10 years ago, in fact. We had to get a big crane, over on Camp Lake to actually take bullets out. They were sitting on the dry. So next year, you can have plenty of water. And then, you'll be back on your business.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we can build it into our ordinance.
Well, we couldn't, even if we did approve it, it'd have to go to the DNR for approval before you can do it.
I realize that. That has to go to the
And
DNR.
that's,
I talked to the DNR.
So once he gets approval from the DNR, can he come back to us?
I think we need to review the ordinance first.
Okay.
you need the riparian owners, okay, to put it out. You guys own that collectively?
Yes.
You have letters that said that they say it's okay to put it out.
We are the owners. We have to have a peer. We have a slip that we own.
Have you talked to the association as a
Condo
whole
association.
about extending the pier?
They can't go out any further. They wanted to. At least that's what I've been told. We're fairly new, so I'm not.
I've got the ordinance right here. It's 30.772. The mooring anchor is placed more than 150 feet from the ordinary high water mark, or more than 200 feet from the ordinary high water mark. You know, over there, it's all sandy. I don't know if 150 feet's even gonna help you, but anyways, a permit is obtained from the appropriate municipality and approved by the department. So it has to go, a permit is obtained from the department. The mooring is property within a designated mooring area. And this, we don't know if this is the mooring, it's not a mooring area. And then it goes into boating, cause trouble with access or traffic lanes and swimming areas and a whole bunch of different things that have to be considered.
Yeah.
Fishing.
Rich, I'm gonna refer to you. Do you think that this should be tabled until we look at the ordinance that we need to revise?
I don't think that's a bad idea, but I did have an opportunity to look at the statute and the application, and I don't know that the application as it sits right now meets the requirements of the statute. So I don't know that it can.
Okay.
The statute has a 150-foot limit unless the village has adopted an ordinance that would authorize 200 foot. You haven't done that. So the limit is 150. On the diagram that accompanies the application, it appears that the request is for up to 200. So I don't think it meets that requirement. And I agree with Mr. Faber on the riparian ownership issue. Typically, and I haven't seen any kind of documents for this particular condominium, but typically the association is the body that has the authority to exercise those rights with respect to common elements.
Mhm.
So I think probably a letter from the association would be required for permission as the riparian.
Okay,
So for those two reasons, I don't think it meets the requirements, at least right now.
okay, so we should probably table this then until we get some more information.
Right.
I would also encourage you to stay up to date with what we're doing with this whole buoy thing.
Yeah, that's the first I've heard of it.
Yeah, fixing it, making sure it's done the right way, getting all the proper permits and such. And I believe at that time, we would include these mooring buoy issues.
Okay, yes,
We had, we do have one that was on Camp Lake, and we do have those harvesters, right? Well, the guy no longer puts his boat, but the weight is there. We hit it continually, it's dragged up on shore at Yaw's boat landing right now.
okay.
We do get approved, I know where you can get away.
Yes, Eileen.
Big one like this.
Trustee Young, had moved to table it, and that's where we.
Oh, okay, so do we have a second to table this? Favor, second to table. All in favor? Aye, any opposed? Motion carries to table. All right, we'll move on to the clerk's office. Discussion and possible action on an invoice from Johnson Controls in the amount of $9,819.58 for replacing the fire alarm panel at Village Hall.
Motion to approve.
Hopkins, do I have a second? Gant? All in favor?
Uh,
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Operators licenses. Did everybody look through those? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve all as listed?
I'll make a motion to approve.
All is listed?
Yes.
Okay,
We have them listed in two sections. Are you approving both sections? The ones that came in after the background checks were completed?
You've seen the one. Yeah.
It's split to two sections. I gleaned it as little to no background
Mhm.
violations, and then there is another section where there are background violations.
So if I understand correctly, then, trustee Sweeting, you would like to see the motion modified to address those that are being approved. And if any are going to be denied, we would separate that,
Well, they are separated on the,
but it's not on the agenda. That's what I'm saying.
right. So if you want to, I mean, Mr. Gant made a motion to approve all as listed.
He could modify his motion.
Well, I don't know if he's. Look through 'em.
I think there's one on there that stands out is where this is all going.
I see.
correct.
Okay.
There were
Then
three, but two were kind
Ron would
of.
have to withdraw his motion.
Okay,
if
I'll
he does
withdraw
not.
my motion.
Now, I would like to make a motion to approve everyone except Laura Berger.
I'll second.
Yes.
Okay, do a roll call on that. Mr. Barheit? This would be a motion for everyone but Laura Berger.
Right.
Okay, Mr. Young,
Yes.
Mr. Hopkins.
Yes.
Mr. Gant,
Yes.
Ms. Sweeting,
Yes.
Mr. Faber.
Yes.
I'm a yes, motion carries 7-0. Number 3, cabaret license, sorry,
I'm not done yet.
we're not done yet.
You gotta spell out the reason why
Oh,
on the one.
With the extensive background,
Motion to reject. Or deny.
there's a motion to deny operator license for Laura Berger
Based on the extensive background. check.
based on the extensive background check.
okay, do I have a second?
Second. Second.
Hopkins? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion to deny Laura Berger. Yes. Okay, number 3, cabaret license for Jake's 75th Street Inn. I have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Young and Hopkins. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 4, approval of vouchers for July 11th, 2023 through August 14th, 2023
Motion to approve.
in the amount of $845,921.64 as reviewed and presented. Mr. Hopkins made a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I will second his motion.
Any discussion? Any discussion? No? No? Okay. Mr. Faber,
Yes.
Ms. Sweeting,
Yes.
Mr. Gant,
Yes.
Mr. Hopkins.
Yes.
Mr. Young.
Yes.
Mr. Barheit.
Yes.
I'm a yes, motion carries 7-0. Number 5, approval of minutes from August 7th, July 27th, and June 12th of 2023.
Motion to approve. I'll second.
Hopkins in favor. Anyone have anything to add?
August 7th, that was the cow meeting.
Yes, Kelly, you were
And I
not. Yes.
listed on there as absent
Yes,
Yes.
because I was on Zoom
And you were excused.
and was at the whole meeting.
I don't think you were on Zoom. We were told you were not here.
You weren't here.
Well, I was
You
At
thought
the
you,
board meeting, leaving comments in the comment section.
Eileen, you'll have to check in on that one. Check with Amanda. Brian wasn't here. Brian wasn't here. It was Amanda and Rags, yeah. So what do we do with this
My
one?
comments.
Well, you didn't participate, so you should probably, so we'll do a motion to approve. Well, you have to modify it, I think, right?
No, she just,
We did all three together.
abstains.
Abstains from the one.
You
Yeah.
abstain from the vote.
Rich, if we made the motion for all three, but she can't vote on the one, do we have to redo it and do them individually? No? Just abstains from that.
Just-
Okay,
Abstain.
okay. Mr. Barheit,
yes.
Jared,
Yes.
Mr. Hopkins,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Kelly.
Yeah.
For July 27th and June 12th?
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Faber? And I'm a yes, motion carries. Move to trustee comments, Mr. Faber?
Oh, yes. We have two things I'd like to talk about. Number one is at our next town meeting, I'd like to discuss the village taking over the buoys on Campus Center Lake, 33 buoys. We're purchasing them. That's number two I'd like to talk about. The Wisconsin Waterways Commission has a recreational boating facility grant. You can buy buoys and they'll pay 50% of the buoys. The next deadline is November 1st to have your application in. And the award would take place on, in January, the second Tuesday in January. If we miss the November one, it would be February 1st and the money they would be approved in April. So I would suggest we discuss how many we need and make the November deadline. The last thing I'd like to talk about is that Harris, Randall, and Wheatland have approached the Kenosha Sheriff's Department to handle animal
Read that in the paper.
control. And I'd like to look into that as well and put that on our agenda so we can find out if there's savings that we could also have the county do that work.
Don't we have our guys do that?
No.
Any more, we.
So what, how do you want that listed on the agenda?
Need to pick them up and drop them off at the garage. Pick them up and store them.
What do we use now?
That's the sheriff's department. But they're often calling us to meet them at the garage, so we handle them. We keep them for 2 weeks before we send them to the shelter.
So we don't use that at private service anymore.
We do after the initial kennel.
So this would be the same.
No, this I believe the county would take them right to the shelter.
Okay. So what we're talking about.
All right, so,
Actually, you can't do it for them. This is what-
tell me again, what do you want it to say on the cow?
Just to discuss it with regard
Animal control?
about the animal control. And the first thing was about taking over the 33 buoys.
Yeah, I got
Bring them
that.
in, taking them out, buying them.
Maybe Chief LaCar could step up and do animal control since it's third shift. Be a good place for, you know, fire department.
It's a village property.
They got a new
Back,
floor.
doesn't he?
No,
There's some office space in there. isn't there?
You guys can.
no, you do it now, right?
Okay.
Okay, you don't want.
All right, Dennis, anything else?
No, that's it.
All right, Kelly?
I just would like to provide feedback from the Army Corps of Engineers and whatnot on getting these 5 lakes unified and what grant programs and what they can offer us.
How many, where are you coming up with 5 lakes? I thought we had 9.
We got.
Oh, 9 lakes. Oh, 5 hamlets, sorry. Yeah,
Well,
for all the
Rock
more
Lake
reason.
doesn't need any buoys.
Okay.
Rock Lake doesn't need any.
Anything
No,
else, Kelly?
I mean, that,
It's a non-motorized.
Non-motorized lake.
Anything
Boat,
else?
and you're not gonna get a boat in there.
Electric motors.
Okay, enough. Mr. Gant,
Nothing.
Mr. Hopkins,
Yeah, I got a couple of things. First, I'd like to read something here. We know about the shared use of the Silver Lake Rescue Squad by a group that's called Journey Disaster Recovery Team. And a few weeks ago, there was an incident just east of the Salem grade school and townhomes over there, where a gentleman happened to set a woman on fire who had 3 kids. And this Journey stepped up. Journey was summoned due to the fact the mother was flown to a burn center in Milwaukee. The aunt took custody of the children. However, she needed support, food, additional bedding, clothing, etc. The close proximity to the Salem Lakes played a pinnacle role in the execution of the mission. Several articles were procured from the Silver Lake building, which reduced the response time considerably. And it goes on to thank Journey DRT, Disaster Recovery Team, for that. The other thing I'd like to also say is thank you to the Public Works. About a week ago, I was contacted by some residents over in the Timberline subdivision. The beach that they used to have was reduced to about a 3-foot wide strip because of the cattails that were over 6 foot high. The grass that was not being mowed to the west of the lift station, and there was quite a bit of erosion taking place. You guys went over there in a matter of weeks, or a week, I should say. It was cleaned up, and I'll tell you what, the residents over there are extremely thankful. So thank you.
Mr. Young,
I have nothing at this moment.
Bill,
I said, just for an iterate, I'd like to treat all the lakes the same. Let's not value one over the other.
great. Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn
So moved.
in a second?
Second.
Hopkins and Sweeting, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, any opposed?